Let's get started now. Our bio break is over.
Please arrest me so I can go.
Yeah, really.
Hello. Can you hear me? Oh, I can't walk anywhere without it.
Oh, here.
Yeah, there you go.
Affordable guy.
Okay, so I just want to give a little context to a couple of things that have been brought up tonight. This is the Boulevard alternative as it was presented. It is showing a 51-foot curb-to-curb dimension, the existing is 56. As I mentioned during the presentation 2 weeks ago and tonight, we are thinking that we need to widen this a little bit for emergency vehicle access to make sure there's room for somebody to pull over. So likely we're going to be with this alternative about 54 feet, okay? Existing is 56. This does not have parking on the west side. So that's what the point is that you're trying to make, is that we cannot fit the alternative with the bike lanes and the median and everything in the existing footprint. We would have to lose the parking on the west side. So that's where when people ask me what direction I need to know whether the parking on the west side can be eliminated to look at the alternative that matches up with the curb lines. So
We were going to study that a little further in committee. That was the recommendation, if I recall, Trustee Zovek, because we didn't have accurate data in front of us, so I don't know if we can make that decision right now. I mean, I would be...
I'm not saying you have to make that decision right now.
I want to clarify. With the Boulevard option, I understand that you would either have to do a shared bike lane, a shared space, or you would have to lose some or maybe all the parking. I just don't have that option in front of me to be able to make that determination.
Exactly.
So until I did, I don't think anyone's like, I'm digging their heels in and I want all of this to fit in this right away. I certainly don't want to expand the road and have no interest in doing that. I would like to look at what fits in the road and, because even the option that you've been sketching up that you're going to show us now, you're getting it, in certain spots you're getting 1 foot of extra green space, so.
And as far as dimensions and everything, it's just going to vary. This is what happens from planning to engineering, is that in planning, and you go back to the scenarios in the MSA report, you look at a block, you develop a picture, and you say, oh, isn't this great? In engineering, you start to look at every single block, and what are we doing here, because there's a bus stop, versus what are we doing here? And so this is what we were looking at as far as the hybrid greenway option that would look at putting the boulevard section basically at Alpine and Congress to enhance more pedestrian safe crossings in the hybrid greenway alternative. And so what we're looking at doing here is we still have that section as proposed here, but the through lanes taper out to allow to develop the boulevard right at the intersection. So to your point, we would still have quite a bit of greenway here, but at the intersections where we're looking at enhancing crossings and whatnot to the park is where we would be a little bit further west.
But does that negate, one of the things that the Boulevard brings is beauty. It creates that street wall of beautiful trees, which we already have on the west side, and that we don't need to move them to mature. So I want to know the benefit would be that you still maintain some of that, at least 50, you'd say 50% of that green space on the west side, but you're losing it in the middle. So it's not that continuous beautification. And what I would like to know, what are the as a professional, maybe you have someone that knows forestry, but is there benefits of having a contiguous green space in that middle for stormwater management, if you want to install some impervious pavers? I don't have the expertise in that, and I don't want to just lay it out there without talking about that.
Absolutely. And so the answer to that question is there's pros and cons to every alternative. What's going to be a pro in this is going to be a con in another. And that's where you get in the circle of study of alternatives. You can say alternatives forever because, yes, there's a beautification aspect. We've said that from day one. And if you want a boulevard of trees, the alternative of the boulevard is, what you personally probably are going to vote for because that's what your priority is. We talked about the boulevard section on the north end being able to be that gateway to Shorewood, and that's consistent in both alternatives. So I think that's something that, again, you do a streetscape layout for this alternative and potentially another and really show what you're evaluating. Because when you look at things, just at a block and say, we're going to compare all these alternatives, it doesn't work.
And thank you, and that's exactly what we're at, what the amendment is asking for, is to not take that off the table. I don't believe, there's values, I just want to say, from what we've heard, now granted, other people, from what we have in our possession from resident comments, are they skewed? I don't know. That's just what we have. But I can tell you that I own a shop in Shorewood, so people don't necessarily only see me as a trustee, and they do ask questions, and I don't, the majority of the people that I have heard from, no matter what their opinion was, I asked them to forward it to the full board. So if other trustees are getting other opinions, and I hear you are from people, I just haven't seen it come to the board. I haven't had that input. And so from what I have in front of me and what I personally have heard, I just don't feel like the residents have for safety reasons, for beautification reasons, for multiple reasons. They are educated people, and they've 80 to 90% of them, from what I have in front of me, and have said they want the boulevard option to stay on the table. And so it's hard for me when I hear that other trustees are hearing something different. Where are those comments? I understand not everyone has time, I'm not saying that, but I just don't have any of that input, and I feel like I'm lacking it, and I want to represent the community. So I don't know the best way to get that. I mean, we had all this public input, but we kind of dropped it when we started narrowing the design of the road and the width. So I don't know how to get that opinion of the residents, and this is a big opportunity for our community. So if anyone wants to share, or I don't know how to get that without continuing that process of having input on the design options once a little bit more defined.
Are we still using the mic, or are we using it?
Yes, please.
All right, you don't leave up the mic. All right. I wanted to share where I am coming from with feeling that I feel comfortable with making a decision tonight and moving forward with the next stage of study with the hybrid greenway. We all, in the emails and all the input over the past several years, I have heard all the same priorities in terms of safety that we've all talked about tonight. And I want those things too. And I agree with them. Where we just don't agree is that the boulevard is the only way to get them, or that much better of a way to get them. So that's where I feel the better policy decision is the hybrid greenway. But aside from that, the other issue that we run up against in input process is that where does input become a vote, and the misunderstanding around that. And I will just share my philosophy is that this process was never supposed to elicit votes or sort of give two options and vote on one. It was to talk about qualities that we wanted since we had this opportunity to change the road. And those are the qualities of safety and access and the aesthetic that we have been really successful in talking about. Where we get tripped up is that there's a vote. You can call it whatever you want, but I just want to be honest. I've always said that I will be honest with how I come to decisions and why. The other reason why I feel comfortable with the hybrid is because of the pedestrian island. So I'm not sure, I understood that part of the design from the information night. I'm glad we're taking time to look at it more now. I didn't realize that that hadn't been clear to everyone.
We drove this morning. We talked about it.
Well, our islands at the other intersections. It was just,
Right.
we were looking at having them at two.
Right. They were introduced as a concept, and I was confident that we could, in the refinement process, I knew that that option existed, and I remember hearing that at the information, and that's where I said, okay, so we really are
we really can get to the same place with both options. So I haven't, it's not that I made my mind up a long time ago. Every single time I go back and I weigh both. We also have taken board action that has led to the motion before us tonight. And so, again, I'm comfortable letting that board action stand, because I think that everybody did their study at that time and we took action, and I'm comfortable with building upon that tonight. It's the next logical step. It's not, and everything tonight is a reflection of compromise over the past several years. And we have a board made up of very strong thinkers and decision makers, and we do usually, commonly, we come down on opposite sides of things, but in the process of sorting this out. So what I want to do tonight is, I don't want to go back and forth of picking apart arguments and things like that. I just want to state honestly and clearly why I do feel comfortable moving ahead, and it's because I think that we all want the same things, and I think the better policy decision is to proceed with a hybrid greenway, and that we can get those qualities.
Can I ask the emergency vehicle issue on this one? So there's still, on the southbound, there's still not really an opportunity to get out of the way. So how would a fire truck handle, if you have a fire truck behind you, how would you negotiate, or the fire truck get around you on this intersection?
So whatever width we end up with on the boulevard section in general would be accommodated at that location. So,
Say that again?
so we're talking about how we need to meet with the full on the north end, we have to talk to the emergency vehicles, figure out what that appropriate section is, so that when somebody's pulling, they can get around them. Whatever that section is what would be at those crossings in this alternative as well.
So you're saying we need to add width to
There'll be a little bit of width
allow
added.
a fire truck to get by.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're still talking, it's not like the fire truck up before the island would veer into the opposite lane and go around the island?
No.
The motion that we have on the floor directs them to continue
yes,
and to
exactly.
add the additional width necessary to make those.
Yeah, and we were not at the meeting with, when we took the alternatives and kind of ran them by emergency services, I think we always knew we were going to sit down and really vet them a little bit more. That was always the intent. In fairness to everybody involved, we're trying to show to the public, do engineering and discuss all this at one time. Alternatives do get, this is how engineering works. You kind of fine tune them, add a foot here, these kind of things happen in engineering. There's not always one answer.
I want to address just Ellen Ekman's comment on median, or on the full boulevard, saying it was presented to sound like it was a bad thing, but for safety purposes, that's what a contiguous boulevard does, in a sense. Let me, before you comment, for in a sense that it provides the space for the nature, if that's what the board decides. It doesn't have to be concrete, it doesn't have to be just grass, it can be nature. And then it channels you into the safe crossing area. So one of the things I believe from my planning background, is that if you just do teardrops or you just do them at the intersections, people will continue to cross because now you have a narrower road and there's nothing stopping them from those mid-block crossings. And so please tell me I'm not completely wrong, because that's what I learned and implemented. So I don't want it to be lost here that the safety of a boulevard is exactly what Ellen Ekman said. It's to channel people to the safe crossings where you have the painted crosswalks. And so this design, although it accomplishes that crossing safety if you have a stroller, in the middle, that part, it doesn't accomplish that second piece, which is now you have a narrower road for half your roadway and nothing channeling them there.
Right. So, and everybody wants everything to be a black and white answer, but it's just simply not. So she gave a great example of Marquette. You know, they did not originally want to put all those fences in, but the boulevard, everybody was crossing everywhere, so they had to, okay? There are other ways to solve that as well. You can do fencing on the outside rather than the boulevard. You can do trees.
You can do
You can do bioswales. You can do all sorts of things that you will need to do in either alternative to channelize people to where you want them to cross. There are people that are going to cross in the middle no matter what we do. Even if you put bioswales, people will walk through them.
I just didn't want to
Because that's
negate
what some
that.
people do. But if we can align our islands with where they're going, which is the entryways to the park, and do what we can with landscaping, what be to get people to encourage them as best we can to cross at the safe locations, that is good design.
I just don't want to, I wanted to make it known that that is a benefit of the boulevard, is that it is providing at least more of a barrier for people to cross where they're not supposed to.
It's what they're cross there. Yeah.
I think our job is, and our goal is to create opportunities for people to have better access and, you know, a better crossing experience. I don't think that our job is to take care of every behavior that, you know, people make their own decisions. But if we provide opportunities for a better experience,